go. There's 24 and 25, which is the time up to Jesus' presentation. There's 26, which is the gap, the church age, the time that wasn't predicted in the Old Testament. And what is the description of that time for the Jewish people?
Peace treaty,
No,
Silent years.
Daniel
the
9:27.
time of
The Gentiles.
desolation.
Oh.
Desolations are decreed.
Is this 26?
That's 26.
Desolation?
So did you say then Daniel 26, the gap in the church?
That's that gap, yep. And when
26
God
is
is,
the gap
yes,
and the desolation.
and what is decreed for the Jews during that time?
Jerusalem to be destroyed.
Jerusalem will be destroyed, and from that point until
27.
the beginning of 27, what is the state of for Israel?
War.
Desolation.
Desolations have been decreed. It is already foreseen that there will be desolations for the Jewish people throughout that time.
And in the form of reoccurring war or all just kind of bad stuff that happens?
Every kind,
Every bad thing.
yeah. And wherever the Jewish people have gone throughout this time period, starting with the Roman destruction of the temple up to the present day, there have been desolations. I received a strip from a Jewish.
Would desolations be adversity? Is that what basically it would be considered?
It's more than adversity. Let me see if I can find this. Oops,
Problems in general?
This is a Jewish comic strip. It was done in 2004. And the first panel says, good news, bad news about the alarming rise in, second panel, anti-Semitic attacks on Jews in Europe. Yes, sire. The hate is coming from the Muslim immigrant communities. Is that the good news or the bad news?
I'd say it's bad news.
And the person who sent that to me said, I didn't think I'd see it in America. But now do you know what the number one supporter of Al-Shabaab is?
Somali.
It's the Somali terrorist group that is committing terrorist acts all across the
U.S. government.
Government, Tim Wall.
They,
Are they the ones that,
the Minnesota state
got $1 billion.
gives them is their largest supporter. They take tax money from the state of Minnesota and are supporting them.
What's El Shabbat? I thought Shabbat was their like Sabbath.
terrorist? Yeah.
It's a terrorist organization.
But is
Oh,
it Jew?
You gotta
that
pay
Jewish?
No.
attention to the spelling. There's a lot of
Yeah,
similar sounding things.
Right.
Yeah, because it's the same as Allah is God in
Yeah,
Arabic,
yeah.
so it's not.
You
only
might be
Muslim
getting mixed up with something else.
Yeah. As in Sabbath.
Yeah, because
That's
Shabbat is
is
the Sabbath as well.
so the desolations, verse 26, then you come to 27, and 27 is
The 7-year covenant.
that 7-year covenant, the 70th week. And that brings us to Revelation. So what are the time groupings in the book of Revelation?
church age?
There are, we talked about, what, five,
1, 2, 3,
six,
5, 6.
six. We talked about six, a breakdown, you can break Revelation down into 6 time frames. What is the first one?
John on Patmos.
John on the island of Patmos. So what is the time frame?
95 AD.
AD 90s. And where is that found?
The beginning of the chapter.
Chapter 1. So chapter 1 is John on the island of Patmos, AD 90s. Be all there. The second one is 2 and 3, which is the church age. And how is the church age divided?
7.
By the 7 churches. And those 7 churches, we talked about, there are 3 applications of the 7 churches. What are the 3 applications of the 7 churches? They are all literal churches that existed in AD 95.
Archetypes of church.
Where are those churches? Or where were those churches?
Asia.
Physical places.
Where in the modern world?
Middle East.
Turkey. They were all in Western Turkey. Understand today, people that say, oh, you know, we don't have to worry, the church will always triumph. How many Christians exist in that part of the world today?
Very few.
Almost none or 0. All 7 of those churches were utterly wiped out. Christianity ceased to exist in that part of the world in a practical sense.
Aren't there still like undergrounds?
Not that we're aware of.
Oh,
In Turkey, there's no Christians.
Um,
Not those churches.
not in that area. It has been so, they were so persecuted and driven out that Christianity ceased to exist there, right to the modern age.
isn't there always a remnant somewhere?
Syria, when it just got changed, there was a section, they actually they spoke Aramaic, they're now getting slaughtered. Now that they just went through their political change. I hate to say it, they were being protected under the previous situation, now slaughtered.
Yeah, it's 0.5%
Don't they have-
of all. It says
Don't
of
they have
85
blasphemy
million,
laws?
there's only 400,000 Christians in Turkey.
Yeah.
And a lot fall under Orthodox Greek. And a lot of them are Russian or Ukraine refugees.
Yeah.
But they were speaking Aramaic.
We were talking about this young person who has disappeared. Does anybody know who the Montagnard are?
Who?
Montagnard. That was our name for the hill people in Vietnam that basically allied themselves with the Americans. Their name for themselves was the Hmong people. The Hmong people were historic animists. They had never been exposed to the gospel. The first time the gospel penetrated into Vietnam, into the hill country of Vietnam, was when the American soldiers, and there were Christians among the American military, went in and shared the gospel with these people who were allied with us. The Hmong people went from being total animists to being about 97, 98% Christian during the Vietnam War. They embraced Christianity as a culture. When America withdrew and South Vietnam fell, obviously the communists came in. They said to the Hmong people, go back to your animism. We have no problem with that, but you cannot be Christians.
Animism?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Animism is we worship trees and spirits and ancestral spirits and ghosts of our family.
Kind of like pantheism almost?
No, pantheism is different. Animism is there's spirits in different, and that's why they call it animism. Things have an animism, are
Animated?
animated.
Okay.
Trees are a spirit, or
Native
a
Americans.
rock is a spirit.
Any
Like the
ancestors?
Indian,
Yeah.
American.
Native American, yeah.
The Native Americans were animists as well. And there was a lot of animism in Africa.
Okay.
They said, no, we're going to embrace Christianity. So what they would do is they would go in and they would disappear people, especially pastors. And pastors would go to a church service and they would be coming home and they'd simply disappear. And they wouldn't kill them. They would disappear them. Why? Why?
Cause you wouldn't know what happened to them.
Didn't want to martyr them. Didn't want to martyr.
It's more cruel than that. Had they killed them, what would happen to their family?
You got closure?
The
They'd have-
wife. Go ahead. Go ahead, Derek.
Somebody in the room already said it.
The wife
It would have
would be,
closure.
He was gonna say they would have closure.
yeah,
So the wife would be able to, I don't want to say like move on, but essentially move on.
specifically in what way?
Remarry.
Would be able
Yeah,
to
remarry.
remarry, and there would be a new head of the household to provide for the children, and the family would be supported. So there would be a way to physically care for that family. But if you disappear the pastor, his wife
In limbo.
can't remarry.
No closure.
Because she doesn't know if he's dead or not.
No indication whether he's dead or being held, being kept, alive, dead, has been buried in a grave, a shallow grave in the forest. No idea what's happened. So what happens to the children?
Not provided for.
No one to provide for the children. And if the community tries to give the wife, then the communists would come in and go, no, no, you can't support her. Her family has to take care of her, but you've disappeared the support of the family. And so if the husband is alive, you can torture the husband by showing what's happening with the children. Renounce Christ and we'll let you go home. So that kind of cruelty breaks people. And in modern day Turkey, over 1,000 years ago, it broke the church, and the church either abandoned, they fled, or they were killed off, or renounced their faith. So that happened to those 7 churches. They disappeared. So number one, they were little churches. What's the second interpretation of those churches, or application of those?
An archetype.
In what? Describe that.
Like churches today, for example, there are some churches today that are similar to those 7 churches.
Yes, they are churches that always exist throughout the entire church age. So the first church is, what is the archetype of the first church?
They're doctrinally correct. but they're lost. They don't love Jesus.
Doctrinally correct, but having abandoned their first love.
That's the first church?
Ephesus, yep. Doctrinally correct, but they have abandoned. We really need to get away from that phrase of that you've lost. Because what does it mean to lose something?
That you had it in the first place?
No, that it's just been misplaced.
It's, yeah. Janet was coming out the door. She goes, "Oh, Dad, you gotta come back and lock the door because my keys are in my jacket and I don't know where I dropped my jacket. That's lost." We'll go home and undoubtedly find it.
Maybe.
Oh, hopefully.
We have a plan.
But they did not lose their first love. They abandoned it. They left it. They walked away from it. So that's the first church. Second church,
Persecuted.
the persecuted church, Smyrna. The third what church? Compromised with the world. The fourth church,
Idolatry.
Rendered to the world.
surrender to the world and idolatrous church. That's Thyatira. We went through Pergamos, now Thyatira. Number 5. Number 5.
What was the third one?
They were
That's the
dead.
great
The third one
reputation.
is compromised with the world. That's Pergamos.
Sardis is dead, but they have a great reputation.
Sardis, the church of the reputation. You've got a great reputation, but you're dead. More and more. That represents the American church. If you go over to many churches around the world, I'm thinking especially of the Methodist Church. The Methodist Church for a very long time, from throughout the 1800s and 1900s, early 1900s, the Methodist Church was the largest church in America by a fairly large margin. They planted churches around the world. Those churches are still hanging faithful in many countries. And they won't believe what's happening in the Methodist Church in America today. And you try to tell them, no, they couldn't be doing that. They couldn't be endorsing homosexuality.
Do you know, B. Idding sent me a text the other day with a news clip from the New York area. Beth Iddings at Houghton was a classmate of a guy who became a Methodist pastor. And he stood in his pulpit, I guess, a few weeks ago, because she just sent it. And stood there in this robe with rainbow colors on it and has turned himself into transgender now.
Oh,
Yep.
I heard-
He said,
Yep.
yeah, and she knows him. She went to school with him. They were in the same class. She said she's absolutely sick.
But on the flip
That's-
side, by my
yeah.
job,
That's
Yeah.
that guy.
by my job,
She
there's a
literally
Methodist
wasn't,
church.
you know?
Wow.
And they're trying to leave the Methodist sect, but the Methodist church is holding the building hostage,
Yep.
saying, we own the building.
Yeah.
And so basically they're saying, if you don't want to teach what we're telling you to teach, you can pack your bags. And they are now in a legal battle with 5 to 7 Methodist churches in Cumberland County
Yep,
against the larger sect of Methodist.
yep.
See that?
And so if you go over to Africa where the Methodist Church is very strong, the leaders there look and go, what? That couldn't happen in America. They're the ones that brought the gospel to us 300 years ago. They were so faithful to preach the gospel. That great reputation. But dead. Sardis. Number 6,
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
Weak, but faithful.
The weak but faithful church. A weak but faithful church. And finally, Laodicea,
Jesus on the outside.
And dominant spirit.
the rich. Here's a great way, the rich but empty church. They've got wealth, but where's Jesus? On the
Outside.
outside.
Can you spell Laodicea?
Oh,
Laodicea.
I was way off.
Rich, but what?
Rich but empty.
But all of
Jesus isn't on the inside. He's left. You know, what's that saying? He's left the building.
but all of them have a faithful remnant.
Are they lukewarm or?
Absolutely, yep. Notice there are only 2 churches. And just for the record, how are they portrayed? How are the churches portrayed in Revelation 1? They are portrayed as what? As in other words, candles. How many churches are there?
7.
7 candles? Does anybody recognize 7 candles from Jewish?
Menorah?
A menorah.
They're a menorah. So draw yourself a menorah. 1, 2, 3 with a center post. 3. Draw it in your notes. Draw it in your notes. 1, 2, 3. With a center post. That makes 7, right?
Yeah.
The outside 2, which would be what? E for Ephesus, L for Laodicea. What does it say about both of them?
They lost their love.
Totally condemned. Unless you repent, I will destroy you. I will remove your candle from the lampstand, it says of Ephesus. Laodicea, he says, I'm on the outside. I'm not even among you anymore. You have to open the door or I won't come back in. Totally condemned. Come to the next. So the next one would be what? Smyrna and Philadelphia, number 2 and number 6. Do you see how they're connected? What's true about Smyrna and Philadelphia?
They're in good shape. Well, spiritually.
Totally approved or whatever.
Yes, they are the only ones without condemnation. Neither of them are condemned at all. They are totally commended. Totally commended. And then you have the 3 in the middle. 3, 4, and 5. And 3, 4, and 5, if the outside are totally condemned, the second group are totally commended. What are 3, 4, and 5? They are mixed. But they are progressively worse. They are progressively worse. Pergamos, Thyatira is worse than Pergamos. Pergamos is compromised with the world. Thyatira is surrendered to the world.
Sardis is
And Sardis is dead. So do you see how the menorah puts together that? Does that make sense?
Yes.
So all of those exist. So if you were to look around the world today, you could say there are churches, there are Smyrna churches. Where would you find them?
Here.
Where would you find them?
Turkey.
Underground churches like that.
China,
Persecuted churches.
Azerbaijan,
Azerbaijan,
Indonesia.
Mozambique.
Indonesia. We just talked about the Hmong people, Vietnam. There are persecuted churches, South America.
Nigeria,
I'm sorry,
Nigeria.
yeah,
Mozambique.
all across northern Africa.
Egypt.
Yeah. Throughout wherever there are Christians in the Middle East, where would there be churches that are Laodicea?
Here.
Here,
Mega churches.
Europe. It was very interesting that when the Soviet Union fell, what immediately happened? We're talking 1990s. Early 90s, very late 80s. What happened as they fell? Christians rushed in. What was the immediate response as Christians rushed in?
Probably get out.
Churches started to grow.
Oh, people were excited to hear the gospel. They were hungry for the gospel. Very quickly, American big shots started going in. Very quickly, it wasn't any longer about the gospel, it was about prosperity. Now it was, you could get a big crowd if you were giving away gifts. So that wealth effect, it happens quickly. Are there Philadelphia churches?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can see each of those churches do exist throughout time. But then what is the third application? It divides the church age into 7 epochs or 7 time periods.
It's the second application, you said?
This is the third.
Third application.
They were literal churches when John wrote Revelation. He literally addressed the letter to those 7 churches, sealed it up and mailed it to them. They are churches that always exist throughout the church age individually. Number 3, though, they represent the spirit of 7 time periods in the church age. So you have the church of Ephesus. What does that represent? The church at the end of the apostolic age, first and second, end of the 1st century into the 2nd century, and then in even maybe to the beginning of the 3rd century. Then you have the second time period, which is persecuted church,
200 to 400.
200 to 400, the very large Roman nation or empire-wide persecutions of the church. And then you have the Church of Pergamos. Yeah, the early Roman Catholic Church, the early time of the church becoming worldly and the world becoming churchy. What's the term hocus pocus? What is it?
Witchcraft.
It's a magic word, right?
Yeah.
Hocus pocus. Where's it come from? Louise said it. Now I miss. Hapax Christos, which is body of Christ. Where does that come from?
Catholic Church.
Oh,
Communion,
that's called something though. The
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 Eucharist.
Eucharist.
Yeah, the Eucharist. Trans.
During the time that the early Catholic Church, as Rome becomes churchified, all these pagans are swept into the church unconverted. Why did they join the church? Because it's politically expedient now. Being a Christian gives you favor with Rome. So therefore, I'm a Christian. They were so ignorant that as the church leaders, hey, I was a pagan priest 3 weeks ago. I'm a religious leader. Now I'm a Christian, so I'm a Christian leader. They are so ignorant of the meaning of things that they just start slurring the words. And so Hopax Christos becomes hocus pocus, a magic word. That's Pergamus. What then is Thyatira?
Is there a time frame for this?
The early Middle Ages. So let's say
400 to 900 AD.
400 to 900. And again, we're painting with broad brushes, but the Dark Ages. Then you have Thyatira. What's Thyatira?
900 to 50.
Developed.
Pastor,
The fully developed Roman Church.
Pastor, when we say dark ages, that's dark is concerning biblical knowledge, right? Like we didn't have.
Well, yeah, but it's more than that. It was dark in terms of culture entirely. Knowledge was just, they had reached a state of knowledge during the Roman times.
Mhm.
Roman roads are still used today using the Roman pavement. During those times, just knowledge of how to do anything was lost. You had people there was just so much violence and so much destruction of society, sacking of libraries, destroying of cities, burning of things. Knowledge is just erased.
So knowledge was going and then all of a sudden it took a dive.
Yep,
That's the dark ages, right?
that's the Dark Ages, and that's why we call it. So yes, biblical knowledge was,
Yeah, that's what I thought it was completely referring to.
but it spread into everything. It was literally the almost death of civilization.
Is there a time frame for this?
900.
Yeah, no. The
49.
Dark Ages, about 400, the fall of the Roman Empire, the Western Roman Empire, through
8 or 900.
yeah,
Oh, that was the dark ages.
that's the Dark Ages. That's what's called the Dark Ages.
Was there an event that triggered things getting better after that?
Well, it was just the slow stabilization of the governments and societies of, because of what caused the fall of the Roman Empire?
It was their own decadence, right?
Yeah, but it was invasion by the Germanic,
Barbarians.
by the barbarians. And what happens when the barbarians come in?
They destroy all the good.
They destroy all the stuff that makes civilization useful. They kill all the intelligentsia. And we can complain about the corruption of the intelligentsia, but when you kill all the smart people, what are you left with?
Dumb people.
We saw that in China. You saw that in China. If we had been alive in Mao's China, Louise would
In
be
our
dead
lifetime, in our
in
lifetime,
our lifetime.
Cambodia, that's what Pol Pot did, was kill anybody who had any intelligence whatsoever,
Yeah.
all at once, in a matter of a couple of days.
If we'd have lived in Mao's China, Ron would be dead, Louise would be
Oh,
dead,
you do this every.
Mike would be dead,
Glasses.
Mabel would be dead.
Oh, because we have glasses?
Every single
Oh,
one of us. who
Janet,
wears-
take your glasses off, take your glasses
Every
off.
one of us who wear,
Oh, Janet would be alive, she doesn't have her glasses
So I could
on.
be one of them too.
yeah, any person who had glasses
Take your
was
glasses.
considered was considered intelligentsia. You're part of the problem, and they killed them.
If you didn't wear
Glasses make you look
glasses.
smart.
Yeah,
Did.
Oh, well, a lot of us are living.
yeah. And again, why? What does it show if you have glasses?
You're
How
intelligent.
you can afford them?
A, you can afford them, but B, why is it that a lot of us need glasses?
To read.
Study.
Because we read all the time. They didn't
I'd be
want-
crashing my car if I didn't have glasses.
That was the thing. You're readers. We don't want anybody who can read.
As
Yeah,
you
but that
said,
was
the
even back then.
barbarians did it. Think about when Babylon did it and they captured and they took all the smart
Yep.
ones, like Daniel and
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
the smart move when you
Yeah.
conquered. But
So that almost destroyed civilization for those years, and medical science and things like that were set back 1,000 years.
And who, after the Romans were gone, who took the mantle then? Like,
People tried, and you have what's called the Holy Roman Empire that was Charlemagne tried to put together. You have mythical things like King Arthur.
that was the last empire of Rome. So
Yeah, it was until about 1,000 AD, a little before these nation states start to pull together enough. And you had things like, when does Germany become a nation? It's not until the Reformation, really. These were dark times. They were brutal times. People talk about gun violence. Do you know what the thing that was the most stopping of violence in the history of the world?
the plague.
no,
The invention of the gun.
yeah, yeah.
Why? Why did the gun stop violence?
Because it could take on more. Like you yourself could only fight
Yep.
so many, but the gun could equalize.
Before the
Gave us equal
invention of the
footing.
gun, if I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger,
You win.
I win. I'll do whatever I want. If I want to kill 50 people, I'll kill 50 people because you can't stop me. No one can stop me. Now with a gun, guess what? A 6-year-old can take him down. I don't care how big, how bad, how tough you are. Boom, you're dead. What did that do to everybody? You know, maybe I won't start that fight because I can't be guaranteed that I'll walk away from it. So therefore, actually violence went way down because of the gun. And if you were to look at society 200 years before the widespread proliferation of guns, 400 years ago or so, it was much more violent than it is today. Much more. It wasn't safe to go out on the roads. Women were not safe to basically leave their compound without a massive group of family around them to protect them. If you go back to colonial America, women did not travel alone, period. Just didn't happen. Because it's not safe. Anybody know what a cane stick is?
That with a cane with a sword in it.
You'd have a cane with a sword in it. Why would you have a cane with a sword in it?
Protection.
Because you couldn't go out at night without being attacked.
You still buy them too.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're illegal.
Bobby has one.
I had one. I don't know what happened to it.
Yeah, but again, I've never walked around armed in my life, and I've never been seriously assaulted. You couldn't do that 500 years ago in most of the world. So, very dark times. Thyatira, the fully developed Roman church. Now, by the time you get into that, the church of Thyatira, what is the church about now? statues, icons, you have reduced Christianity to idolatry. When the Catholic Church would go into, and by this time, the church is very missionary. Toward the end of this time, they are spreading into South America after the Americas are developed. They're going into Eastern Europe. What does the Catholic Church do when it goes into an area like the Caribbean or like South America or like Africa?
Blends in with the other religion.
They take the local religions and you worship the god Mashimu. Well, what's Mashimu now? Which is the name of a real god that was worshipped in Guatemala.
One of the
Mashimu.
Saint
He's now
whatever.
Saint Thomas. He's now Saint this, Saint that. You can keep worshiping him, just we'll give him a new name. And they blended idolatry right into the church. And so you have at the worst of that things like Santeria, voodoo. What is all of that? It is a blending of African demonic religion with Christianity.
That's what Constantine did too, right?
Yeah. And that's where it began,
Where?
back with Constantine at the end of the Roman Empire. That's with Pergamus. That's where Pergamus gets started. But by Thyatira, it is fully developed.
Voodoo started on the island of Haiti
Yes. But
from the French slaves that came over
from
France.
from
Africa.
from
slaves.
Africa, yeah. It
But
was
it mixed with the French religion of the French black people that owned the slaves.
yeah, it meant mixed with French Catholicism, and that's where you get it. Santeria, which is a different version of it, same thing. Throughout South America, you have that same issue. Sardis. What's the time frame for Sardis?
1500 to 1750,
In other words,
Reformation.
the Reformation. And the Reformation has this great reputation. But a lot of it was spiritually dead. It got just as dead as the church it was fighting.
Would you say as most of them, they start out strong and then they end up, because if you think about it, the Reformation was in Germany, which were barbarians at one time.
Yeah.
Look what it did. That was the learning capital of the world. And then all of a sudden, Nazi Germany comes out.
Yep.
So it was high and then went low.
Well, where do you always want to be if you want to destroy something?
The end.
Winning side.
Well, you want to be among the leadership of
High ground.
what was Hitler's plan for the Battle of the Bulge? He dressed up a whole bunch of Germans who had either been raised in America or had lived in America. He put them in American uniforms from captured people. He gave them captured American vehicles and he sent them into the American lines.
Oh, it's like a Trojan horse.
They changed road signs. They became MPs telling people where to go. Yep, you're supposed to be going to the front. Go this way. They're 70 miles in the wrong direction before they figure out they're out of place. It got so bad. Who was one of the top generals of the last year's 1944, 1945 of America? He was actually over Patton at this time, although he'd been Bradley, one of the last 5-star generals in the United States Army. Bradley was stopped by his own people because they couldn't identify him and they thought he might be a German spy. Because Germany had put so many spies into these false troops. And Bradley had to prove that he was He's trying to get to the front to organize the resistance, and his own mayor, wait, we can't let him go. Well, look at what Satan's done. Where are some of Satan's most effective agents?
Churches.
In the church,
And not just in the church,
in the
In
leadership.
Leadership.
in the leadership of the church, in the pulpit of the church.
Yeah, yeah.
Look like
And in the churches that are falling away. 40 years ago when I was in seminary, we used to have a saying, in churches that are going apostate, the people are beginning to go apostate, the local leadership is more apostate, and the national denominational leadership is even more so. And the higher up you go in the hierarchy in most of these denominational churches, the more liberal, progressive, and anti-Christian they become. And so if you talk to the people in the pews, there's many people in the pews that don't even know how bad it is because they're being lied to. If they really knew what was going on, they'd be upset. But you go to the pastors, and then you go to the denominational officials, at each step, it gets worse.
No church says, follow me and you'll go to hell.
Yeah.
No church teaches that.
You'll never drive down the road and see First Church of the Heretics.
You're not gonna find that.
what would the dates be? I didn't quite hear her. 1800?
No, 1500 Reformation through 1750.
I got that.
And again, these are broad brushes and they overlap. What is the sixth church? Let's just get through the seven churches again. What's the sixth church?
Philadelphia,
What is that?
17.
The weak church? That is
Faithful.
the weak but faithful church. The time of the missionary church, 1700 to 1950. Again, give or take. This is the time when you have the founding of all these great mission movements like Wycliffe, Chinese overseas missions.
Would that because transportation got better then? That's why they were able to go so far?
I would say that had a part of it, but the big thing was there was a worldwide revival during that time. You have the Wesleyan revivals, the Whitefield revivals in the United States. You have just the general. What is the 1700s in America?
Colonial times.
Yes, but what is it religiously? The mid 1700s is
The Protestant
first Reformation, the first
Great Awakening.
Great Awakening. Jonathan Edwards, Frowlinghouse, a whole bunch of guys like that. The end of the 1700s into the 1800s is the second Great Awakening. The mid 1800s is the third Great Awakening. The 1910s is 19 aughts, whatever you want to call it, is the great Welsh revivals, great Scottish revivals. So you have these great revivals that really impacted the nations that were spreading around the world, America, Britain,
So it produced the missionaries.
and that's what produced the missionaries. And it became corrupted very quickly. Who are the Doles?
The Doles.
Doles,
The
Doles.
fruit
And we're
people.
not talking, we're not talking about Bob,
Pineapples. Where are they?
Hawaii.
Yeah,
What
just
do they
like
do?
factory.
They own what, 60% of the land in Hawaii, some huge amount. It's massive amount. Why? their great originators went over to Hawaii as
Missionaries.
missionaries. And they faithfully led the people, and the people really appreciated them, gave them the benefit of the doubt, said, boy, these are great people. They brought us the gospel. And then their grandchildren grow up and go,
Yes. Grow.
we don't want that gospel stuff.
Had it right there.
We can make more money growing pineapples. Let's buy up all the land. And because of the reputation of the grandparents, the local people go, yeah, they're great people. And here we are. That happened Mabel and I were there. That just happened 25 years ago here. Not that, but something very similar. A bunch of really godly people said the media, especially the printed media, which was the big thing, doesn't appreciate Christianity. They're doing a lot of garbage. We will start our own publishing companies. We will publish Christian books, Bibles, Christian music. What were the names of those companies? Word, Zondervan, Erdmans. If you've got a Bible, this is Cambridge, which is British. But probably a lot of your Bibles have one of those names on them because they made those Bibles. They were all founded by people. Those are family names, by the Erdman family, by the Zondervan family. Word isn't. Word they took. But what happened to them? Well, the grandkids came along and said, we don't care about the gospel. We just got an inheritance, man. We want to make money. So what did they do?
No. Secular books.
Yeah.
They sold them to secular companies, to Time Warner, to I forget who all, but they were all sold. And the company said, oh, we'll always produce Christian material. And they claim to be. But is their concern doctrinal purity?
No.
Or is it having an air of Christianity that will sell to a lot of people that call themselves Christians? Do you see how that works?
Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Jacob, yeah.
Yeah.
So you have, that was the demise of it. That's what destroyed that great missionary movement. By the 1950s, that's petering out. What is the last gasp of that group? What's the last gasp of the great, weak but faithful group? Post-World War II generation. The people who, what did they do?
They got saved on the GI Bill or went to school on the GI Bill and then became missionaries.
They went out to war to stop the Nazis and the Japanese. They traveled around the world. They met all these people that didn't know Christ. They came back after the war. They went to school on the GI Bill. They went to Bible colleges. And where did they go?
Mission.
Back to the people that they carried a gun. They went back to them carrying a Bible. And you had that great push in the late 40s and 50s. And so you have the guys like Jim Elliot and the Alka Five. You have all these missionaries and others.
Didn't Korea, like the Korean War, didn't a lot go back to that?
Yep.
There's a big thing of Koreans now that are
And
saved.
look
right?
what they are now, they're crazy now.
Yep. So that brings us to the last church. That brings us to the last church.
Laodicea.
Laodicea.
60s to now.
1950 and on.
Yeah.
Today.
The rich. And where is the church? Not just in America. It started in America, but where's the church around much of the world today?
Africa, Coptic Church in Africa.
Where are they spiritually?
Oh, okay.
Lukewarm.
Toast.
Warm, comfortable,
Money.
health, wealth,
Money.
prosperity.
money, health, wealth, prosperity. We are rich. And that takes us through the church age, right up to the present. That all makes sense now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it, I don't just want it to be, these are notes in a book someplace. Because you won't have that book with you when you're talking to someone, I guarantee it. It has to go deeper than that, where, I can sit down
I gotta
here,
watch the video again.
I can sit down with somebody and, lay this out and go through it.
That's why you're right. It helps you remember.
Yep,
So-
that's why having it in the book is great. You have to do that. But if that's where it stays,
Where it may stay.
My
Yeah.
favorite part of the video is the little stuffed animals in the background.
there you go.
That was the.
All right, I gotta watch the video again.
Yep. And you can see progressively how we've just, we've gone to the Joel Osteen
Oh,
theologization of the church.
Yeah.
oh.
I'll share an incident. This was before I went to work, so it was over 17 years ago. One of the most influential churches in America 20 years ago was called Willow Creek Community Church. A guy went into a suburb of Chicago, and he went out and did a door-to-door campaign asking people what they wanted in a church, and he designed a church to meet the quote-unquote felt needs of the people. Whatever the people want, we'll make a church that gives. We don't want dry, dusty things about the Bible. We'd like it to be exciting. Okay, we'll have dramas instead of the Bible. The sermon will be based on dramas, not the Bible. So we'll have actors get up and do a skit, and then the message will be about what you saw in the skit, not necessarily quoting any Bible at all. We don't want the music. We don't want that Christian music that talks about blood or this. We want, and they designed a church, and it became mega successful. It, had 100,000 people. I don't know, huge number of people. And they would put on a seminar every year for pastors to come, and they'd have hundreds of pastors coming to replicate Willow Creek in your community, how you can be the next Willow Creek Community Church. Local pastor here was a pastor of the United Methodist Church in Sicklerville, in Washington Township, on, what is it, Cantown Road, is it?
The one by Wawa, St. John's?
St. John's, yeah. Went there every year religiously. I went to him and said, why don't you not go to that this year? Why don't you come with me to Heart Cry for Revival, where they're really talking about seeking God for real revival? He goes, oh no, I've got to go to Willow Creek. I can only go to one. I've got to go to Willow Creek. That year, the pastor of Willow Creek came out and admitted, we haven't made a single disciple in 20 years.
It's a good thing you went so I could hear that.
He said, we've made a big crowd. We've got a lot of people that come, but we are learning. None of them have been discipled. None of them truly know what it means to be a believer. No one is living like a believer. We haven't impacted people deeply in any way. But this year, we're going to tell you how you can change that and make disciples. I said to him, he's lied to you for 20 years, but now he's going to tell you the truth, and you're going back. Yes. Yes, I am. And I'm excited to do it.
It's deception. Something.
And I wanted to take my head and pound it right through a table. So that's exactly where the church came. Why was everyone flocking to Willow Creek? Because he was promoting the truth in a straightly biblical way. Was that the attractor? What was the attractor? Big crowd, big money, big campus.
Excitement.
Well, he was giving them everything they asked for.
You can be a pastor like me with a multi-million-dollar salary. There's a pastor that some of you may think great things about. Charles Stanley. And if you're a person that likes Charles Stanley, I'll tell you, I have no respect for him whatsoever. 25 years ago, Charles Stanley was drawing down a salary of $6 million a year, plus 3 parsonages, plus a jet. And then he's telling you, you've got to trust God. God will take care. Excuse me, no person making $6 million a year from giving that people give to the church. No person taking $6 million of the people can tell me to have faith.
It's pretty easy to trust God when you got that kind of money.
Yeah,
Wow.
Man,
you cannot tell me anything about faith. If you never got another dollar, unless you're an idiot or so worldly that you've blown it all on stupidity, there's no way you could. If I just had $6 million, I'd never need another dollar for the rest of my life. He was pulling that down a year and then telling people making $20,000, you just need to trust God. No. But again, that's Laodicea. We're rich and have need of nothing.
Oakland just bought that private jet.
God bless. Have a great week.
are you gonna try to move those last couple of things?
Um,
Communion table, at least?
yeah,
Stop.